Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where everyone wants to be heard, silence has become rare. But silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It is the mark of someone who does not need constant validation, someone who chooses to grow in discipline rather than noise. Silence is strength, a kind of strength that does not shout, does not demand attention, but carries weight in its very restraint. Words are everywhere, flowing constantly, spoken often without thought, thrown carelessly into the air. But words are cheap, and because they come so easily, they can lose meaning. Anyone can speak, anyone can fill space with noise, but not everyone can hold back, not everyone can choose silence when their ego is itching to prove a point. True control is revealed not by the loudest voice but by the ability to stay composed, to resist the urge to answer every insult, to correct every misunderstanding, or to prove every doubt wrong. Silence shows that you have nothing to prove to anyone except yourself. When you remain silent, you take ownership of your emotions. Anger often rushes out in words that we later regret, and frustration can spill into arguments that change nothing. But silence protects you. It shields you from wasting your energy on battles that do not matter. To respond to every provocation is to hand your peace over to someone else. To stay silent is to keep your dignity intact. There is immense strength in holding your tongue, in refusing to let others dictate how you feel or how you act. Silence is also a mirror of discipline. Discipline means control over the self, and control over speech is one of the highest forms of it. You are not ruled by impulses when you choose to stay quiet. You weigh your words, and often you realize that what you wanted to say does not deserve to be said at all. In a world where constant talking is confused with intelligence, silence makes you different. It shows wisdom, because silence is deliberate, not empty. The person who talks endlessly may reveal little, but the person who listens, observes, and speaks rarely carries depth in their words when they finally choose to speak. To remain silent is not to be passive. It is not about avoiding truth or hiding from conflict. It is about choosing your ground wisely, conserving your energy, and recognizing that not every thought needs to escape into the world. When you speak less, what you say matters more. Your words carry weight because they are not diluted by constant noise. They are measured, sharpened, and purposeful. Life presents us with countless situations where the easy thing is to react quickly, to defend ourselves, to fill silence with words. But the harder path is to stay composed, to let silence speak for you. Silence makes people wonder what you are thinking, it keeps them uncertain, and that uncertainty is power. By holding your words, you hold control over yourself and, in many ways, over others too. Silence teaches patience. It teaches the value of listening before speaking. It teaches you that control is not about dominating others but mastering yourself. And when you learn this mastery, silence no longer feels like emptiness. It becomes strength, the kind of strength that does not need to be announced, because it is undeniable in its presence. Self-mastery is the art of governing yourself in a world filled with endless distractions, opinions, and noise. External chaos will always exist: arguments, gossip, criticism, expectations, and pressures that pull at you from every direction. If you allow yourself to be consumed by it, you lose the ability to guide your own life. Energy is not infinite. Every moment you spend fighting external noise, every thought wasted on what others say or do, drains the strength you could use to grow. To master yourself is to decide that your energy belongs to you, and that no amount of external chaos is worth your inner peace. Most people live in reaction. Someone criticizes them, and they respond with anger. Someone doubts them, and they scramble to prove themselves. Someone disagrees, and they rush into arguments that serve no purpose. This cycle is endless, and it keeps them trapped in a state of weakness, always pulled by forces outside their control. But self-mastery breaks this chain. It teaches you to remain unmoved by noise, to act instead of react, and to stand steady while the world around you sways. Focusing inward is not selfishness, it is necessity. You cannot build strength if your attention is scattered. You cannot improve if your energy is wasted on what others think of you. Self-mastery demands that you direct your focus where it matters, on your own character, your own actions, your own progress. The opinions of others are outside your control, and to chase them is like chasing the wind. What you can control is how you think, how you act, and how you respond. That is where true growth lies. External chaos will always try to test your balance. Life will bring unfairness, insults, misunderstandings, and distractions. If you are not anchored in yourself, you will be swept away. But when you choose self-mastery, you train your mind to resist being shaken. You learn to pause instead of react, to choose action over emotion, and to guard your attention like the most valuable resource you have. Because it is. Where your attention goes, your life follows. When you stop pouring energy into battles that do not matter, you gain strength for the battles that do. Instead of chasing arguments, you chase discipline. Instead of fighting for recognition, you fight for progress. Instead of seeking to be heard in the chaos, you become silent and focused, working on yourself while others remain distracted. And over time, that focus compounds. It shapes you into someone unshaken by the noise around them, someone who is not easily provoked, someone whose calm presence speaks louder than the chaos itself. Self-mastery is not achieved in a single moment. It is practiced daily, in small decisions where you choose not to waste your energy, not to let the world dictate your emotions. Each time you focus inward, you strengthen your foundation. And when the storm of chaos comes, and it always will, you will stand firm, because your energy has been guarded, your growth has been protected, and your focus has been where it belongs, within yourself. Actions have a language of their own, a language far more powerful and convincing than words. Words can be rehearsed, manipulated, or exaggerated, but actions reveal the truth of who you are without needing explanation. Silent discipline, practiced consistently, builds an undeniable proof of character, the kind of evidence that cannot be faked or hidden. When you live with discipline, when you dedicate yourself to improvement without the need to announce it, the results speak for you. There is no need to argue about your worth, no need to convince anyone of your value, because your actions make the statement on your behalf. In a world where many talk endlessly about their goals, their dreams, and their plans, few follow through with steady action. Talking is easy, but showing up day after day in silence, with consistency and patience, is difficult. That is why actions carry weight. They separate those who only speak from those who live their words. When you choose silent discipline, you allow time and effort to build your reputation rather than empty promises. People may doubt your words, but they cannot deny your results. Actions also reveal integrity. It is one thing to say you are committed, disciplined, or strong, but it is another to live it when no one is watching. True strength is built in private, in the unseen hours of work, in the choices you make when recognition is absent. Silent discipline does not seek applause. It does not crave attention. It seeks growth for its own sake, knowing that real progress is not about appearances but about becoming better. This kind of discipline builds a foundation so solid that no criticism can shake it, no opinion can weaken it, because it is rooted in truth. The world often rewards noise, but noise fades quickly. Actions endure. A single act of discipline, repeated daily, compounds into mastery. The habit of quietly doing the work, of refusing to be distracted by praise or criticism, forges a strength that cannot be denied. When others waste energy explaining their greatness, you prove yours through consistent effort. When others argue to be seen, you let your results become impossible to ignore. Silent discipline also brings peace. When you rely on actions rather than words, you are no longer trapped by the need to justify yourself to others. You stop seeking validation, because you know your proof is in your work. You know that what you build will eventually reveal itself without explanation. This frees you from comparison, from arguments, from the noise of doubt. You focus inward, and your life itself becomes the answer. Over time, silent discipline shapes not just what you achieve but who you are. It transforms your character, hardens your resolve, and strengthens your identity. You become someone reliable, consistent, and respected, not because of what you say but because of how you live. And in the end, your actions, steady and disciplined, will echo louder than any words you could ever speak. Detaching from opinions is one of the most liberating disciplines a person can practice. The world is full of voices, each one eager to judge, criticize, or praise. If you anchor your worth to those voices, you will live in constant instability, shifting from confidence to doubt depending on what others say. What others think of you is beyond your control, and to waste energy trying to manage it is to fight a battle you can never win. True strength is found in redirecting that energy toward what you can control, your choices, your actions, and the person you are becoming. When you tie your sense of self to opinions, you give away your power. One word of criticism can crush your spirit, and one compliment can inflate your ego. In both cases, you become dependent on others for your identity. Detachment breaks this chain. It allows you to hear opinions without being ruled by them. Whether praised or condemned, you remain steady, because your foundation is not built on shifting voices but on inner conviction. You understand that people speak from their own perspective, shaped by their own biases, insecurities, and limitations. Their judgments are reflections of them, not of you. Detachment does not mean you ignore all feedback. Wisdom is being open to learning but refusing to let opinions dictate your value. You can listen, evaluate, and take what is useful, while discarding what does not serve your growth. This way, opinions become information, not chains. They may guide your perspective, but they no longer control your direction. You choose the path, and you walk it with clarity, regardless of how others perceive it. The pursuit of becoming someone better lies entirely within your hands. You cannot stop people from doubting you, but you can prove them wrong by your progress. You cannot prevent them from misunderstanding you, but you can choose to live in such a way that your truth speaks louder than their assumptions. Every moment you spend worrying about their thoughts is a moment stolen from your growth. When you detach, you reclaim that time, and you use it to sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and build your character. It is easy to become entangled in the desire to be liked, respected, or admired. But admiration fades, respect shifts, and even the people who once praised you may one day criticize you. If your self-worth depends on this, your life will be a constant struggle. The only lasting foundation is the one you build within yourself. Focus on what you become, because that is where your control lies. The discipline, patience, and effort you invest will not always be seen immediately, but they are real, and they are yours. Detaching from opinions is not about arrogance, it is about freedom. It allows you to live with peace, to work with focus, and to grow without distraction. You no longer chase approval, because you understand that your worth is not given by others, it is forged by who you are and who you choose to become. Stillness is a rare strength in a world that never stops moving. Life constantly throws noise in our direction, demands, distractions, expectations, and endless chatter. When we are swept into that current, our minds become restless, pulled in every direction at once. But when you choose stillness, when you embrace silence, you create space for clarity to rise. The noise fades, and what remains is focus. In that quiet state, you can see what truly matters, you can hear your own thoughts, and you can strengthen your resolve to follow the path that aligns with who you want to become. The mind, like water, becomes clear only when it is still. A restless mind is clouded with fear, doubt, and endless distractions. Decisions made in restlessness are often rushed, emotional, and misguided. But decisions made in stillness come from clarity, because silence allows you to separate what is important from what is irrelevant. In the quiet, you learn to distinguish between the temporary noise of the world and the enduring truths that guide your life. This clarity is not something given from outside, it is something discovered within, and it can only be reached when you create moments of stillness. Stillness is not the absence of activity but the presence of control. It does not mean you stop moving forward, it means you stop wasting energy on unnecessary noise. In silence, you gain strength because your focus is no longer scattered. Your mind is not consumed by every distraction or every opinion, but instead anchored to what truly matters. That strength becomes your resolve, the ability to stay on course when obstacles appear. Without clarity, every obstacle feels overwhelming. With clarity, obstacles become challenges you are prepared to face. Silence also builds patience. It teaches you that rushing is rarely the answer, and that strength grows in deliberate, steady progress. When you allow yourself to step back and remain still, you give your mind the chance to breathe, to reset, and to plan with precision rather than panic. A quiet mind does not panic in uncertainty. It observes, understands, and acts with intention. This is the kind of clarity that cannot be shaken by chaos, because it is born from calm reflection rather than reaction. In stillness, you also come to know yourself better. Without silence, you may confuse your own voice with the noise of the world. You may pursue goals that are not truly yours, driven by expectations rather than conviction. But when you withdraw into stillness, you can hear the truth of your own thoughts. You see the path that belongs to you, not the one others want you to walk. This self-awareness gives you direction, and once you have direction, your resolve becomes unbreakable. The discipline of stillness is difficult in a world that celebrates noise, but it is in silence that real strength is forged. When you sharpen your mind in quiet, when you ground yourself in clarity, you no longer stumble in confusion. You walk with focus, with determination, and with the calm certainty of someone who knows exactly where they are going. Progress without announcement is one of the most powerful demonstrations of strength and discipline. In a time where people feel the constant need to showcase every step of their journey, true growth happens quietly, away from the eyes of others. Real progress is not about proving yourself to the world. It is about becoming better than who you were yesterday. When you focus on growth for its own sake, without craving applause or validation, you free yourself from distractions and allow your energy to be directed solely toward improvement. Your results, in time, will speak for you louder than any announcement ever could. There is a certain purity in working in silence. It strips away the performance, the need to be seen, and leaves only the work itself. Many spend more effort showing progress than making progress. They talk about what they are going to do, share every small step, and seek recognition before the results have even formed. But growth is not about appearances. It is about transformation. Quiet effort, consistent discipline, and relentless focus create changes that cannot be hidden. When you grow in silence, you do not need to convince anyone of your dedication, because the outcome becomes undeniable. Progress without announcement also protects you from the weight of expectations. When you declare every goal publicly, you tie yourself to the opinions of others. Every misstep becomes subject to judgment, every delay open to criticism. This pressure often kills motivation. But when you keep your journey private, you work at your own pace. You are free to fail, to learn, and to adjust without the noise of external judgment. This freedom allows you to build steadily, without fear, until the progress you make is strong enough to reveal itself naturally. Silent progress also humbles you. It reminds you that growth is not for show but for strength. If your goal is applause, you will stop when the clapping fades. But if your goal is mastery, you will continue regardless of who is watching. This mindset separates those who seek attention from those who seek greatness. Attention is temporary, but greatness lasts, and it is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. Over time, the results of silent discipline become impossible to ignore. People may not notice your daily efforts, but they will notice the transformation. They will see the strength you have built, the wisdom you carry, and the calm confidence you radiate. By then, there will be no need for you to explain your journey. The proof will be in who you have become, not in what you claimed along the way. True growth does not require an audience because it is not about the audience, it is about you. When you commit to progress without the need to announce it, you gain freedom, focus, and power. Your life itself becomes the testimony, and the results you achieve reveal a journey far greater than words ever could.